You're listening to Dirty Feet, a dance podcast. I'm Allison Elizabeth Burns. So let's get started with who you are and what you do.
I am Brittney Canda, and I do many things. I make dance films, I make music videos, I make dances, I dance, I teach dance, I edit dance films. I guess that's what I do. I guess those are the things I do.
Yes, you do all these things. And the reason I wanted to talk to you now is, well, first of all, you've been having a lot of success recently with your projects, and that's really exciting. But also you started working in the field of dance film and music videos and all of this pre-pandemic. And now we're having more and more people kind of coming into this territory and exploring this world that you've made comfortable for yourself pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take the time to to illustrate your career and your artistry and how you use these tools to express yourself. I met you, Brittney, when you were studying at Concordia University, and we interacted through the Bouge DC Dance Festival as well, that at the time I was participating in as artistic producer and you were presenting work at. So I know you from this realm, but actually you have a different parcours, like a different trajectory, of course, than myself and than other artists. So let's talk about pre-Concordia, pre-university, the beginning of your dance life. What did that look like?
I was a studio kid. I did dance competition, studio dance, the tap, jazz, ballet, musical theater, lyrical kind of stuff, all throughout my childhood. I was very, very unsuccessful for my dance competition year. I really struggled in that environment. Until my last year, where it stems from like a traumatic event. One of my classmates was murdered, and I wanted to do a dance for him, but in order for me to do that dance and do it justice, I was determined to become like the best dancer, even though I was the noodle that struggled the most. And then I worked really hard with like anger as my motivator, and then I won all the competitions. I won everything. I won all my solos. I won everything that year. And then after that, I got flesh-eating disease in my knee. I got quite the epic story.
You do.
I got flesh-eating disease in my knee at the dance competition. I was in the hospital for a really long time. Went in for surgery to have my leg amputated. Turns out the infection didn't go as far as they thought, so they just were able to do a debridement of the infected parts of my knee. So I had parts of my knee taken out, and then a year of recovery after that, learning how to walk again, learning how to dance again, going to ballet sometimes, and then came Concordia. So that was my childhood dance education.
Thank you for illustrating your origin story in such a personal way and sharing that with us. I want to talk about Concordia because Concordia is a contemporary dance program. Perhaps it was an unexpected choice for you to make to end up there. Can you talk a bit about the choice that you made to study at Concordia and what it did for you or didn't do for you?
I didn't think that it was a unsuspecting choice for me to go to Concordia at all when I went there. I did competition, but I was the weird kid at competition. I was like the weird artsy one that no one understood, that like didn't have great social skills. So Concordia seemed like the place where a lot of creative, like misfit type people went. And that's something that I resonated with. So I didn't know that Concordia wasn't the place for me until, that was kind of put, I learned that very quickly. But through my stubbornness, I stayed. It took me 7 years to graduate Concordia. I failed my choreography classes. Nothing that I presented there was considered contemporary dance because it was considered something that was commercial, but I didn't understand the difference, and no one ever could help me understand this. They would just be like, contemporary dance and commercial dance are different things. And I'd be like, how? And they'd be like, well, can't you see they're different? One is so you think you can dance and one is amazing. And then I'd be like, but I think they're both cool and I think they're the same thing. Like, I don't understand that these are different things. And everyone was trying to teach me that these were different things, and that what I did was this thing. Meanwhile, I was training at Studio Danse MP, and those people there in the commercial dance studio were saying, oh my God, you don't fit in here. You're so artsy. Like, you're a Concordia girl. So I wasn't accepted by either the commercial dance world or the contemporary dance world. At Concordia, we had to do a video assignment. I had absolutely no interest in video before that. I was like, I want to make the weird dances to the music I like. This was like what I wanted to do. And I'm like, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be fun. People are going to like feel something. Like, it's going to be a party. It's going to be scary. Like, I don't know what direction I was going in, but I knew that I liked like exciting, scary feelings, emotional dancing. I fell in love with editing because I could do choreography and like I didn't have to remember a phrase and I didn't have to like think about my performance. I could just like improvise all my feelings and all my tricks, and like every weird idea that I had, I could just do it full out, and then the craft would come later, which made a lot of sense for me because I'm not someone that picks up choreography very quickly. So it felt like doing choreography with this like fixed content was something that really helped me express myself, I guess. So I started a YouTube channel where I would like hang my DSLR camera in a tree in the back alley and go jump around in a puddle for like 20 minutes. And then I would bring it home and spend like 2 days awake manically editing it. And then the next week I'd have another strong feeling and I'd go express it. And then I'd make a dance film and then I'd put it on my YouTube channel. And I had like many YouTube videos. And I didn't really tell anyone. I was kind of like scared of dancers to find out about my YouTube channel, because I thought that like they would hate me even more. It was just sort of like my own place where I could dance. And then my favorite band, Winter Sleep, found my YouTube channel, and the singer sent me a message and was like, hey, I'm Paul. I found your YouTube videos. I think they're cool. Do you want to do a music video sometime? And then I was doing music videos from that moment in time. And I was like, yeah.
That's amazing. How did your favorite band find you? How does that work?
I don't know. He says that his friend told him, but I'm sure that he Googled himself.
That's wild. I want to take a pause and just talk about what your dance looks like. There are, of course, a million different ways that creators approach creation and as you've illustrated, like your moving body is like a big part of like where your movement comes from, where your choreography or creation, as we're talking about improvisation, comes from. Can you, other than, now we understand your training and your background, like what does that look like when you're moving?
It's a lot. It's very maximalist, certainly not minimalist. I would call my dancing maximalist. I made a list recently for another interview. I'm just going to find it. What is it? Okay. So it's essentially like all of the things that Concordia said were bad dancing is kind of like what my bad dancing looks like. It's narrative, linear, sentimental. I use a lot of classical technique. I use music with lyrics. I use a lot of emotional expression. It's extremely physical and athletic. It's autobiographical. It's gestural. It's busy. And I do a lot of character work.
So for you, when you started creating more music videos, you were already kind of primed for this, okay, we're going to take this narrative, we're going to use these lyrics, we're going to work off of that to build a visual experience. Is that right?
No, not at all. When I make a music video, first, we'll listen to the song and sort of get the vibe of the song or what the musician tells us. Sometimes they tell me what the song is about. Sometimes they don't. And then from there, I'll listen to it a bunch of times and sort of go off into dreamland and build a narrative around an image or another idea. Like, for example, the music video for Silhouettes, we watched Swiss Army Man, which is where it's a film where Daniel Radcliffe plays a dead body, and my partner Vincent René Lortie looked at me and he's like, "We're gonna do a dance film with a dead body," and I was like, "No, we're not gonna do that," and I'm not doing that with you. Sorry. And then the next day, I was teaching, and one of my students was like very, very tired, this like little girl. And she, in her improvisation, she was just flopping all over the place. And then and then on my break, I called him and I was like, "I found our dead body." And then from there we were like, okay, so Brittney's dancing, this little kid's dancing. Our song is this, like, we just got sent this classical piece of music by our friend Simon, so maybe we can make this a music video, and we'll build the story from there. So that story was like, okay, we have the elements of like the two casting. The cast is there, and one of them is going to be dead and floppy. And so from there, we like wrote a story about a little girl who's playing hide and seek with her imaginary friend and gets lost in the woods, and then falls from a tree while she's playing hide and seek with her imaginary friend. And her imaginary friend finds her, and they dance together, and the dance brings her back to life or back to heaven, or yeah. I got the little girl to write a story because we wanted it to be really whimsical and childlike. So she wrote a story that was something like, I was eating my lunch, and then there were griffins, and with the griffins and I, we went swimming. She wrote a story like this, and then we just danced her story quite literally. Like her story was the choreographic narrative that we followed, but it was abstracted by the bigger narrative.
Does this result in a dance film, or does this result in a music video, this process you just described?
Well, I don't think there's a difference. I don't think there's a difference.
Okay.
I think the difference is I think the difference is lame. I think that these are just like boxes in fashion, and there's like, it's gotten my work into a lot of trouble, because, oftentimes when I submit my work to various like institutions and festivals, it doesn't get accepted because they're like, this is so cool, but it's not a dance film, or this is so cool, but it's not quite a music video because it's 7 minutes long, or this is so cool, but this is a great dance film, except there's someone who's singing the lyrics in it, so we can't accept it because it looks too much like a music video. I'm like always in this in-between zone that I've always been, but now I'm I don't know. Now people think it's like, now it's in fashion. So I'm just coasting on this. That it is, like, I haven't been doing anything different from what I was doing when I was like a kid or at Concordia. I feel like what I'm doing is now just kind of in fashion.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you're winning awards and getting recognition from Danse Danse and like having your work reach far and wide. Yeah, tell me a bit about these experiences that have kind of rewarded your persistence at following your instincts.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about following my instincts because I don't feel like, I don't know. I also don't, I'm compelled so strongly to make the kind of work that I'm like, it doesn't make sense to me to make other kinds of work. It's been weird because I've received all of this, during COVID. Like, I've been alone, like experiencing success, which is surreal and strange. Like, yeah, it kind of feels not real because even more than it would before because of COVID. 'Cause like my video beat Beyonce's video at the UKMVAs, and I was like in my mom's living room, like by myself.
Right. Is this real?
and the computer was really glitchy and I was like panicking. I don't know. And like the Junos are coming up. I was just nominated for a Juno too. And, that's virtual too, which is, I'm so grateful, but yeah, it's really weird. It's really surreal.
I was thrilled to see a new dance work video of yours come through my newsletter from Danse Danse, which is a major Montreal presenter. Mm-hmm. And they have adapted. One of the ways that they're adapting is they're including a lot of links to artists' work in their newsletter, and not just any artist's work, right? It's like a highly curated selection. So that is a situation in which like the COVID has become an opportunity for exposure for you in that way, where Danse Danse doesn't normally promote dance videos in that manner. But the awards, the music video awards, that is separate. That is not an enhancement because of the pandemic, right? Like that would likely run its course. You would likely be winning those awards. You would likely be nominated for a Juno. I think what I'm trying to illustrate is that the fact that you came into COVID with this strength of working with dance on film has been advantageous to you in some respect.
Oh, yes.
As the world is trying to catch up with the adaptation.
Gotcha.
But that's not the only reason that you're receiving success right now.
Yeah, I suppose so. At the same time, I'm immunocompromised, so I can't be working the same way that other people are working, even though they can work in film. I've done a couple projects, but it was really, 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 really hard. I couldn't be there for most of the rehearsals because I have to be isolated. It was like a lot done remotely for the most part, except for, the day of the shoot. And on the day of the shoot, I still had to be very far away from everyone with like my goggles and double mask. And in my own hut with like my own lunch that no one else could come near, on walkie-talkies. And then I've been like editing other people's stuff. I did do the one film that was luckily well received by the dance community, but that was hard. Like, that was really, really hard to do. It was insane. It's called Touch. Yeah, this was a dance film that we did for Festival Quartiers Danses with Triple Light Fantastic. And I took on the role of film director because now I'm dancing again. But at the time, I wasn't dancing again because I was still recovering from my ACL replacement.
So you created a dance video called Touch in the time of COVID. Mm-hmm. Might be obvious what that means, but can you tell us what the inspiration is behind Touch? Kira called me and said that Festival Quartiers Danses is producing some dance films instead of live work this year. So we were accepted to do Festival Quartiers Danses with the Triple Light Fantastic. So she called me and said, I don't know what we can do, but we have this tiny budget and we're going to make a dance film. And then we're like, okay, well, how can we make a dance film? What can we do? How would we even do that? And then we just had a brainstorm together, about dancing, on either side of a latex sheet. And then sort of built the device and a story around it and found a location. Kira did the choreography. The cast of Trip the Light with a few guest friends did the performance. Pascal Champagne did the music. There's lots of, we're certainly not the only people that did that. I've seen so many latex sheet, latex wall, plastic sheet dances. So we made one of those, I suppose. Yeah, so everybody can put up some silicone and get their colleagues to like push on it and record it and whatever. But it's not going to necessarily be the piece of work that you and the team put together. And that is, I think, what this steep learning curve is for a lot of artists right now. It's just how much work and how much expertise and how many different elements have to come together to create a film.
Oh, yeah. You can't do it by yourself. I think that's sort of like the biggest lesson to learn. I'm mentoring someone right now who's a dancer, and she's trying to learn like editing and lighting and all of this stuff. But other people, I don't know any of that. Other people do that. I just do the directing and the dancing and I do all of those things, but not all at the same time, most of the time.
Yeah. And everybody having their role, allows them to get really deep into their practice, right?
Yeah.
And you get a really full experience on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing too, that's like a big lesson is how similar choreographing and directing are.
Ooh, tell me more about that.
When a choreographer creates a piece for stage, it's their name that's on the choreographer, so-and-so is the choreographer and they did everything. Everything you see, they did it. They said yes to it. They approved it. In film, it's the director. Even if it's a dance film, you can create different relationships, but oftentimes, you'll. I'm sure there's many people that have dance film or music video, and you work really hard on the choreography, and then you get it back, and it's not your choreography anymore. Yeah, I think that's like an experience of a lot of people. So navigating the relationship between choreographer and director is is challenging. You have to find somebody that can really collaborate with you if you want to fill your role in a similar way that you would if you were creating a more familiar stage piece, I suppose. Or, take a back seat and listen. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. It's like it's sort of like a push and pull thing.
It's a different industry. It's a different scale. It's a different scope. It's a different budget.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Kind of. I don't know. There's no money in music videos. I don't think I've made any money ever on a music video. Maybe I made... Yeah, no. Nobody makes money on music videos. There's no budget for music videos. Music video funding comes from, musicians' pockets most of the time. If you're lucky, Factor. If you're really lucky, CAC. Canada Council, for Canadian musicians at least. Yeah, so there's no money in music videos. Nobody gets paid on music videos. People do music videos to do a cool art project. Should it be that way? No, but it is. You make money if you do commercials. And that's different. I think that commercial dancing for commercials can be, sometimes, I don't know.
Well, what happens both in theater and in video, is that you have to pay the materials first, right? The technology gets rented or purchased, and any software and any venues. That all gets covered before you start looking at artist fees, which is devastating, but it's the reality.
Exactly. And often too, especially if there's no budget, the way that it'll work is the people who don't get to be creative are the ones that get to be paid. And if you have creativity, if it's something that you can use to promote yourself, then you are less likely to be paid. Cause the guy, the grip doesn't gain anything by taping stuff up, and
the person holding the microphone is there to hold the microphone, and they
as much of a hero as they are, they have no glory at the end.
And I do want to go back to, because we skimmed over this whole beating out Beyonce business, but that's for Wrap Me Up, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's for Wrap Me Up.
And this was filmed pre-pandemic, thankfully.
Oh gosh, this was filmed 2 years ago, released 1 year ago. Didn't get a single thing. Sent it to every festival, every music video festival, every dance film festival. Nothing. Everyone liked it. Didn't get any love. We got a staff pick pretty quickly after the release, but after that it was you have been rejected. You have been rejected. You have been rejected. You have been rejected over and over and over and over and over again. It was a big surprise. We were nominated for 2 UKMVAs. We were also nominated for Best Alternative Video for that one. For Wrap Me Up. That was very unexpected.
I heard this thing about job offers when you're looking for jobs, and I think it's true of applications as well, is you hear no, 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 yes, yes. And it's always the 2 at the end. It feels like that's true in this case as well. So you've been hearing a lot of no, and all of a sudden you're getting a lot of yes.
Yeah.
Let's finish that circle loop and talk about how you ended up teaching at Concordia recently.
Yeah, well, I got a text from Angelique Wilkie, and she was she basically told me that they had a few kids like me that year. And
they need the Brittney treatment.
And she didn't really know what to do. This was also, I guess yeah, it was very, very strange to be asked to come back to that place in the position of a guest lecturer, because I never thought that would happen, and I don't think that anyone else ever thought that would happen either. So it was a like very vindicating experience just to be asked to return with some wisdom to share that was like wanted. That was cool. Yeah, it felt very punk rock. But yeah, so I just spoke to them about my career path and, you know, tried to encourage them not to doubt themselves or be influenced by fashion. All dance is dance, and all dance is good enough.
You've had coming back towards you a really positive response for the work that you've been doing, reinforcing that you've chosen the right path and in continuing to work the way you've worked all along without compromising. What does that mean for you these days?
It's really sort of lifted off a lot of doubt that I had been carrying around from my education, from communities, from like what people say, from like, you know, even sexism in the film industry. It's really like validated my place, and the fact that I and my work have value. I honestly didn't think that they did before, and it's odd. It's odd to have that come through, like external validation. I'm really grateful for that, because I feel like going forward, I can now trust myself more. I'll feel less inhibited. And it also makes me really want to like undo, a lot of the like systemic guck that I've been carrying around that this like really released through this experience of winning big awards alone in my mom's living room. So strange, but you know, like, yeah, sort of realizing that you've been good enough all along is like you know, it's a lot to like look back, and doing a lot of interviews like this, I've had to do a lot of looking back. Yeah, it's giving me confidence, but it's also like, I know that I'm really fortunate to be in this position and like be holding these titles right now. And so the fact that like, people are listening to me is important. And I want to like really dismantle, especially a lot of sexism in the film industry. Yeah. And I'm no longer afraid, to like be calling it out quite bluntly, which has been hard. But that's sort of what I've been experiencing recently, is sort of, and like, I'm trying to like, take back credit for things that other people, received my credit for in the past. Crazy ways that women are, not acknowledged in the film industry. I've been treated as like the girlfriend of a filmmaker for a long time by the film industry instead of a filmmaker myself. So now with these like accolades, I'm sort of demanding some more respect.
What's next for you? What do you foresee happening in the future? I know it's really hard to plan these days.
Yeah.
Because there's so many unknowns, but what do you dream of?
When I get my vaccine, I'm going to return to Montreal, and I've got a short film planned. We're going to do hopefully 30-minute film with Trip the Light for adapting the live piece, The Smile Club, to film. So we're going to do that and likely shoot that in September, October. So that's a big endeavor. There's some other potential projects. My dream is to make a new kind of dance TV show that doesn't have a competition element.
Oh, I love that.
I think maybe I can do it.
I think you could do anything at this point.
I don't know. The world is listening to me right now, so maybe I can do that. I don't know. I hope I can do that.
I am so excited to watch that show. Thank you, Brittney. I've learned a lot in this conversation. I really appreciate your time and your openness.
Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to Dirty Feet. I'm Allison Elizabeth Burns. Music for Dirty Feet by Tristan Henry. Special thanks to Paula Flalo for ongoing support and guidance. And to past contributors for amassing an almost 200 episode archive available at dirtyfeetpodcast.com. Learn more about me at AllisonEB.com. This episode was created thanks to my patrons. If you would like to support the future creation of podcasts and hear an extended version of this episode, visit patreon.com/AllisonEB to learn more.